Zebras don't have Facebook. Little pieces contributed by everybody, including more than 6,000 volunteer citizen scientists. Who is grooming whom? We can understand who is whose friend. I'm Tanya Berger-Wolf. I'm a professor of computer science at University of Illinois, Chicago, director of computational population biology lab, and a co-founder of WildBook, a project of wildme.org. I'm a computational ecologist, which means I work with biologists, with a very special type of biologists, ecologists, who are interested in understanding the system of animals and their environment and the context of evolution. The ones that I work with, particularly interested in social animals and understanding how social animals make decisions and why do they do what they do in the context of evolution. So my job is to create computational methods, algorithms, that help these types of ecologists, these types of biologists, answer questions about social animal behavior. And at the level of abstraction that we create algorithms, it really doesn't matter whether it is zebras or baboons or ants or humans for that matter. The biggest difference I found between zebras and baboons and humans is that, shockingly, turns out, zebras don't have Facebook. So how do you get the information on who is whose friend among the zebras? You can't just go out and ask them. So there are two ways that you can do this, and one way is to create sensors that you can put on zebras and baboons, or maybe ants, and really translate the sensors into behavior, and that's what we do. One of the projects is creating sensors that you can put on the neck of the zebra and like a bracelet, like a little Fitbit, that you put all the different sensors like GPS and accelerometer and gyroscope and magnetometer, compass, and Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, and you can measure everything about their behavior and how their hands move, or not hands, all hands in baboons, how their hands move and how they groom each other, that's social behavior, and how they collect food. And you create a machine learning pipeline which takes all of these sensor data, which is the GPS and accelerometer and gyroscope and magnetometer and in the bracelet, also the accelerometer and gyroscope and Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, and gets it together and translates it into the baboon behavior, both individual and social, and maybe from that, from seeing who is grooming whom, we can understand who is whose friend. The other way to figure out who is whose friend is to use images, pictures. Photographs today are the most abundant, readily available source of information about everything, from what we eat today to, yes, wildlife. So we created a system called WildBook that takes all these millions of images from the ones that scientists and field assistants take, as well as drones and camera traps, those automatic cameras that take pictures when they're motion activated, something moves in front of them, or even tourists just going out and taking pictures and posting their images on social media such as Flickr, Instagram, and even videos on YouTube. And then we create algorithms that can take all these millions of pictures, find where the animals are in those pictures, and identify not only the species, that this is zebra, giraffe, elephant, turtle, whale, but down to individual animal, that this is Zippy the zebra, and Joe the giraffe, and Terry the turtle, and Willie the whale. And we can do it for anything striped, spotted, wrinkled, notched, or even the shape of the fluke, the tail of a whale, or the dorsal fin of a dolphin. And so now this is like a fingerprint of an animal. And with information on when and where the image was taken, you can really now see who they were with, where did they go, how many of them there are. In fact, in 2016, using this system, for the first time in history, we did the full census, full count of an entire species from just pictures of people driving around taking photographs for 2 days. So this is the endangered gravy zebra, 95% of them are in Kenya. This is not the one you're thinking about. I know what you're thinking about. You're thinking about the zebra in Serengeti, thousands of them going with wildebeest. This is not the one. This is the other one, thin stripes, big Mickey Mouse ears. Look it up. So there are not that many of them left. And for 2 days, from school kids and rangers up in the north of the country to U.S. ambassadors to Kenya and tourists with telephoto cameras, took more than 40,000 images, and we identified every single zebra and provided the most accurate count of the gravy zebra species ever. And it was so good that Kenya Wildlife Service and the International Unit of Conservation of Nature Red List started using that number as the official number, 2,353 plus minus about 90. They asked us to do it again to see whether after the drought that was recently there, the numbers are going up or down. And this time, January 18th, more than 1,000 people participated taking pictures of zebras as well as giraffe, reticulated giraffe, which is also an endangered species mostly found in Kenya. And we provided, again, the most accurate numbers. So that's one thing that you can do using data from images and good machine learning algorithms. Also using this system, in December 2017, the most comprehensive study on the biology of whale sharks, the biggest fish in the world, was published, co-authored by 36 authors that met through the pages of Wildbook. Because these are migratory species that move 5,000 miles in their lifetime, and not one conservancy, not one research project has the view of even one individual. And by putting together the puzzles of little pieces contributed by everybody, including more than 6,000 volunteers, citizen scientists, and divers who go out and find pictures of whale sharks, we can really create a picture of this global species at a planetary scale. And then figure out who's whose friend and study their social network and get scientific insight. I'm a computational ecologist. There are not that many of us in the world. What does it mean? And how did I get here? I started out just wanting to be a high school math teacher. I loved math all my life. And I was born in a country that doesn't exist, lived in 5 countries and 3 continents. I was born in the Soviet Union, in Lithuania. And every time I moved, the idea of who I wanted to be and what I wanted to do changed a little bit. And eventually, when I was applying to undergraduate university in Hebrew University in Israel, in Jerusalem, I had to choose what is my major going to be. So at that moment, in addition to math, I checked also physics and computer science. And as I started computer science and math degrees, I realized that the type of math that I really like is computer science. Along the way, I met a guy who happened to be an ecologist and who was telling me wonderful stories of shy flowers and industrial spiders and very lonely bees. And I really loved the stories, but even more so, I fell in love with a guy to whom I'm now married. And for many years, I would talk to him and I would talk to his colleagues, and I would walk away with a sense of, oh, there gotta be a better way of answering these questions of what happened to the population of birds if you put a road through their habitat, or how do the butterflies exchange their sort of little patches among their little patches of flowering habitats, or how do zebra societies make decisions? So after my PhD, I was looking for a way to really create computational methods to answer these questions. And I figured, okay, well, these are ecological questions. I'm a computer scientist, so this is going to be computational ecology. ta-da! So I kind of sort of started this field, which now has with some number of people. And what I really like about it is the whole interaction with biologists, with ecologists, and translating the questions that they're asking into computational abstractions and finding the patterns in these massive amounts of data, new kinds of data that they never were able to have access to before, from sensors, from photographs, and finding patterns that they would not otherwise see, that then generate hypotheses, scientific hypotheses, and scientific insight. So I see the job of a computer scientist, and particularly a data scientist, as to expand, increase the number of things that the scientists can be looking at, the type of things that the scientists can be looking at, and to enable them to look carefully, to provide the scientific insight into and answer not only better but different types of questions about the world that we're living in.